let's jump into Monday Night Football's game, though. We have another AFC North rivalry to talk about. Ravens versus the Browns. We were just talking about Pittsburgh. But Baltimore at Cleveland. These two have already faced off once this year. The spread's favoring Baltimore by 3, even though they're on the road. The over-under's at 45.5. And Brett, this should be an interesting game. Baltimore won by rather handedly in the opening game of the season, but since then, both of these teams have really looked a lot differently than we've expected.
Yeah, Baltimore looked pretty good last week, though. Lamar looked pretty good. But Cleveland's been really good as underdogs this year, Higgins, and I like them in this spot as underdogs.
Yeah, Cleveland +3. I think that's a pretty good pick for you, Brett. I'm going to go with the money line, though. I have a little more confidence in Cleveland because over their past 10 games, Cleveland is 8-2. Over their past 10 games, Baltimore is 5-5. And yes, they did get an impressive win last week where Lamar Jackson looked good, but that was against the Dallas Cowboys. And we've learned that everyone seems to look good against a team in the NFC East this week, except for, I guess, San Francisco and New Orleans this past week.
Yeah, how about Jalen Hurts? Not bad for his first game beating up on the Saints, so that was pretty impressive.
I had a feeling that was going to be a little bit of a trap game, but sticking with this Ravens-Browns game, Brett, like we said, you're on Cleveland +3. I'm on Cleveland money line. I also like a player prop here. J.K. Dobbins, he's kind of emerged as the top back out of this backfield now, but there's still a clustered backfield in Baltimore with Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram as well. Not to mention Lamar Jackson will take off with the ball, and there will be designed runs for the quarterback as well, so lots of carries get split around. That's part of why J.K. Dobbins averages just 7 carries per game. Now, J.K. Dobbins recently has had more than that in his past few games. He had 11 against Dallas, 15 against Tennessee, 5 against New England, and 12 against Indianapolis, and 15 against Pittsburgh before that. So 4 of his past 5 games, he had over 10 carries. However, he's only gone over this 46.5 mark 4 times this season. So I'm going to take the under.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the under here, especially with a talented Cleveland team that's been playing pretty well.
think that makes a lot of sense. Not really too high on J.K. Dobbins either. So, getting me to bet on his over 46.5 rushing yards. Look, if this is a close game, I mean, I expect Baltimore to be trying to pass anyway, and Lamar to be doing the scrambling. You mentioned the crowded backfield with Gus Edwards; he gets carries, so. Yeah, it's tough to bet anything on this Ravens backfield, honestly, but I think
They're
under
hard to
would
play
be
in
the way to
fantasy as
go.
well.
Yeah, very true. I mean, the whole
Because
offense is.
Baltimore, it's very there's so many weapons that it's kind of just whoever has the hot hand of that week. So I've stayed away from them in fantasy. These player props, they can be very touch and go because I think if J.K. Dobbins were to cover this, it would probably be like how he has played in the past 2 games, where most recently against Dallas he had 71 yards, and against Tennessee he had 70. However, like I said, he's only gone over 46.5 4 times this season. So he's averaging about 5 yards per carry, averages about 7 carries per game. That's 35 yards. That gives you about 10 yards to work with based on the averages.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think it's a very fair bet there, Higgins.